John Burke has been Medina County Treasurer since 1994 and is a lifelong resident of the county and lives in Medina Township with his wife Lisa and son Matthew. After receiving his MBA degree from Miami University, John worked as a management consultant for Arthur Andersen and as Chief Financial Officer for the AI Root Company. Treasurer Burke is responsible for collecting and investing over $490 million annually for Medina County. He has earned over $53 million in interest income for the county from his investments, a record high. His accomplishments include creating the Fix-It Fund program, which has provided $12 million in low-interest home improvement loans to 865 homeowners. Treasurer Burke enjoys using his education and his experience to safely invest the public's money and is proud to have been named Ohio's Public Fund Manager of the Year. Congratulations and welcome. We're just going to go through a couple of questions. First, for the viewers at home, can you start by describing what role the county treasurer is?
Sure. The best description probably is I'm the banker for the county. So I collect all the taxes, the real estate taxes, also deposits from other agencies. Every county government agency, like Job and Family Services,
Sure.
They will deposit their money. By law, they have to deposit all their money that they collect within 24 hours into the county treasurer's office.
Okay.
So you collect that money and then you have to invest it. So last year, our annual cash flow for deposits was right around $490 million, about $500 million. And I have to invest that money. So you have to know something about investments quite a bit because in today's financial times, up and down, yes, you have to have a good financial background and have invested money and large amounts of money also. Our portfolio is probably about $70 million on any given day, and so I will have that invested in 40 to 50 different investments. There's requirements by law. For example, I cannot invest in equities, so no stocks because of the risk. So these are interest bearing investments, so certificates of deposit, money markets, government agencies like Fannie Mae, Ginnie Mae, Federal Home Loan Bank. You can have commercial paper. So we have a little bit of everything in our portfolio. So you have to have a diversity, and then you can ladder it, as we call it, and stretch it out by law up to 5-year maturity.
Okay, because you have to deal with cash flow as well.
Yes. And that's the other thing is, as treasurer, I have 3 goals that I try to maintain. The first is safety of the public's money. And I have to say we've never lost any money investing in the 5 terms I've been treasurer. And then you have to have liquidity, because you have to have money available when the commissioners decide to spend it, and the auditor writes the checks. So the money has to be available to cover those checks. And then the third thing is you want to get the highest yield possible, which again, in today's financial world, it's hard to find good interest rates and a high yield. But we've done very good there. We have one of the highest yielding portfolios in the state. I'm involved in the County Treasurers Association for Ohio. And out of the 88 counties, I hear what everybody's doing, and we really have a very good portfolio. In fact, we consistently beat Star Ohio, which is the largest investment fund run by the state treasurer. So, but those are 3 goals that we've been able to maintain during my terms as treasurer.
Very good. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about why you are running?
Well, I'm running for re-election. I'd like to continue providing the level of performance we've had on the portfolio. And I also like to do innovative things. For example, in your intro, we talked about Fix-It funds. And I created that back in 2001. So besides just investing money, we try to do programs that help the taxpayers of Medina County. And this one
invest back into the community.
Right. And this one is a novel idea that we came up with, and it's low interest home improvement loans, which this year we're going through Westfield Bank. and it's called a linked deposit program, which is by law been around for about 15 years. But not too many counties use this. I think we're one of only 3 in the state that have a linked deposit program like this. And basically what it is, very simply, is you can borrow up to $50,000 at a discounted interest rate fixed for 5 years from that bank. And then what we do is we take and invest the same amount that they loan out in that bank in like CDs or money markets.
Sure.
And this year the rate's 2.99% for people with a good credit rating, of course. And we've, let's see, since 2001, we have had over $12.5 million in loans to about 865 taxpayers who then can improve their homes.
Right. Yeah, that's a great program.
That's some of the extra things we do. Another thing we do is unclaimed funds, and I'd like to continue that. We go to not only the county fair, but grocery stores and libraries and different places where there's a lot of traffic.
Sure.
And we try to help people find their unclaimed funds, which the state holds. Anybody who has an uncashed, like payroll check, maybe a dividend deposit, or a deposit in with a utility company, or a dividend they didn't cash, all that has to be turned into the state of Ohio after 5 years. So they're sitting on about $700 million, and
people just don't know that.
Yeah, it's
there.
about 7 to 8 million of it belongs to Medina County residents. So over the years, we've been able to find $1.5 million for about 4,000 different people. So I'd like to continue those type of programs.
Be able to reach out. That's great. What are your top 3 priorities for the Treasurer's office in the upcoming term? Anything new on the table?
Well, again, keeping the money safe and trying to get the highest yield possible. But you mentioned new things. One thing I've been working on at the state level on my legislative committee for the Treasurers Association. Our association, along with the sheriff and the clerk of courts, we've been trying to develop online live auctions for sheriff sales. And we just had a House bill sponsored and passed, and we're working on the details of that to fine-tune it. But the idea is to have sheriff sales, bank foreclosures online, so it's easier for the person to buy that way.
Sure.
Also, it increases the number of participants and higher return. Yeah, you're going to get better sales with more bidders. If anybody's done eBay, it's kind of like that.
Right.
You know, where you could go down to the last minute and
get right in
get
there.
a property.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're working on that. Another new thing that we're working on that I'd like to complete is mobile online tax payments. So you could take your smartphone, and from your smartphone, make your property tax payment.
Gotcha.
No one of the counties that I know of in the state have that yet, and we've been developing that. In fact, we're in the testing mode now, and I'm hoping to have that as another tax payment option by the collection in January.
Okay. Very good. Great. What makes your leadership in this position different from other candidates, and why?
Well, number one, I think I have the education and also the certification and experience to be the treasurer. We didn't talk about certification, but you have to have continuing education, 12 hours a year from the state treasurer and the state auditor, approved by them. And if you don't have that, then you can't invest in all those things we talked about.
Sure.
You can only invest in money markets and certificates of deposit, so your yield's going to be
limits
lower.
what you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
So you need to have that type of certification. Along those lines too, I've also 3 times gotten the top professional development award in the state of Ohio for county treasurers, which means I've gone beyond the normal requirement for education.
Right.
And I just find it very, very good to have as much knowledge as you can when you're investing public funds, and especially the large dollar amounts that we have to deal with.
Sure. Very good. Do you believe the county is business friendly?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I think one thing that helps that is the fact that we do have officials who come from business. For example, my background, I had 18 years in private industry, starting with Arthur Anderson as a consultant, big 8 accounting firm, and then I was chief financial officer of the AI Root Company for 10 years. Yeah, I had a couple of small businesses. Another example would be Adam Frederick, who's a commissioner. He's not running this time, but he's in business. And I think having those type of people with those private industry backgrounds really does help the county to be business friendly and encourage development with new companies. And it's very important for our tax base.
Right. You need
to
that
have,
balance.
Oh yes, and to have commercial businesses paying their taxes, staying in business, doing well, is very beneficial for the county and provides tax revenues that help us provide all the services that people have become used to.
Very good. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like the viewers to know?
Well, yes. We talked about the interest earnings we've made. That's probably one of the key things I do in the investments is try to earn interest income. Over the time I've been treasurer, we've made $53 million in interest income. That's a record high. Along with that, you want to collect as many taxes as you can. And we've been able to reduce delinquent taxes and increase our collection rate up to 98.5%. That has brought in $129 million in delinquent collection over the same time frame. So if you think about that, 129 million plus 53 million is $182 million. That's extra revenue to the county. And where's that go? Into the general fund, which helps to pay for all the county services and expenses. So by doing that and doing a good job, I can help to keep taxes lower, the need for new taxes, by generating that type of income and collecting delinquent taxes.
It helps a healthier county also.
It does. And it's the equivalent of saving every family in Medina County $3,700. Okay.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, yeah. And at the same time, we've been able to provide extra services. For example, the Fix-It funds. Also, a new website we put up 2 years ago has online payments, credit cards, PayPal, ACH, online electric check.
Okay.
So various ways of paying your taxes.
Making it easier for the residents.
Right,
Sure.
right. And also finding people unclaimed funds. So we've been able to do all that while keeping my office expenses low. And I might mention that too. My office budget this current year is less than it was back in 2005.
Not many people can
So,
say that. Yeah.
and I have to say that my staff does a very good job on customer service. But we've been able to do that and all those extra programs and invest money and keep our expenses very
the
low.
office level.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good.
But I'd like to continue with a high-level performance in the job of treasurer. I have the education, credentials, certification, and experience to handle public funds. And I would ask voters to reelect me as county treasurer.
Very good. Thank you very much for the opportunity to meet with you.
Thanks for the interview.
Very good. David Wadswoth was appointed as Medina County Clerk of Courts in January of 2011. Mr. Wadsworth was subsequently elected to a full 4-year term in November of 2012. A Medina County resident since 1980s, Mr. Wadsworth has been married to his wife Barbara, an OB nurse, for 30 years. They have 3 daughters together, all of whom have recently graduated from college. The Wadsworth are parishioners at St. Ambrose Church. Mr. Wadsworth has a Bachelor's of Business Administration degree and previously worked for many years as a business sales manager who supervised dozens of employees. He previously served on Brunswick City Council for over 8 years. In recognition of his leadership ability, Mr. Wadsworth's fellow City Council members unanimously elected him to serve as City Council President, Vice Mayor. The Clerk's office is the business office of the Common Pleas Courts. Additionally, the Clerk manages the 3 state auto title offices in Medina County. The Clerk of Courts office also serves as a designate passport application acceptance facility for the U.S. State Department. As Clerk of Courts, Mr. Wadsworth has made customer service and efficiency running the Clerk's office and state auto title offices his top priorities. Welcome this morning.
Good morning.
For viewers at home, can you start by describing what role the Clerk of Courts is?
Well, the Clerk of Courts is the keeper of the record for Medina County. That's my primary objective and goal, my duty. And we have 39 employees. I have about a $2 million plus budget. We handle about $50 million a year through our offices. And the Clerk of Courts is like I said, the keeper of the records is where all of your court cases for the common pleas courts originate. They come in and we scan them, we give them a file number, and basically maintain that file over time for the attorneys, the judges, and those parties involved. And then in some cases, we have to store those files for up to 25 years after the end of the court case. Which in the case of domestic relations, divorce.
Could be years.
Yes, very, very expensive. So we're trying to trim costs there wherever we can.
Very good, very good. If you could introduce yourself and tell us a bit about why you are running.
Well, I'm Dave Wadsworth. I'm your Medina County Clerk of Courts. I'm running because I feel I have the experience now that I have definitely been in the office for nearly 6 years. And I have a business background. And this is really a business a position. You know, with 3 auto titles, that is one business unit in itself. It's a relationship between my office and the state of Ohio. So it has its own special fund, the Clerk's Fund. The domestic relations, civil, criminal, archives, and bookkeeping offices are at the courthouse, and that's an entirely different business unit. The trick is to run those offices as efficiently as possible, but for me, coming with a background in sales and sales management, I really believe that customer service is the top priority. I mean, accuracy is really the top priority, but customer service, being greeted with respect and politely, and get in and get out, and you know, that's what people love about going to any of my offices, really.
It's wearing many hats too, it sounds like.
It is. Yeah. It is. I mean, we're managing offices all over the county.
Very good. What specific skills or expertise do you bring to this elected position?
Well, I have I have many years of experience, 30 years of business experience. You know, I'm not a government, person per se. I come from the private sector. I want to help. I want to run things efficiently. And my background as a sales manager required accountability and, knowing how to understand people, difficult people. This position, most of my employees are women. I'm dealing with the judges, they're my bosses, as well are the attorneys, as well is the public.
Sure.
So it's really, you have to be able to manage the people part of the job very effectively. But then, of course, there's the business side, and you have to keep costs low. And I have done that.
Very good. Very good. What are your top 3 priorities for the clerk's office in the upcoming term?
Well, we've recently, we could talk a little bit about what I've gone through upgrading my technology in my offices.
Sure.
We really brought it from a very bad point where we had a IBM AS400 server, 23 years old. The software on it was as well that old. And so we had to convert all of the data, all of those files for over 20 years, if you can imagine 20 to 30 years of data and images. And we had to convert those from a language called DB2 over to SQL. And I know that may not mean anything to any.
I understand.
I know you do. I know you do. But what that is Windows-based language. And now it took over a year to convert that data and make sure it was accurate.
Sure.
Because I will not lose a record.
Right.
Okay, that's my job. So now we are at that point where everything is converted. The software is upgraded. However, the software isn't where it needs to be. It's not the software I believe we need for the future. One of the things that I really want to do is to take us to the next level with online filing of cases. Some of our counties surrounding us have reached that level, some have not, but the business office of the future for the courts is an online filing system. And I will say that the attorneys will have a share in paying for that.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. One of the things I will say about any of the things that I do, maybe not all of the things that I do, but many of the projects that I undertake, I use the profits from the auto title offices. They are very profitable, so it's not really tax dollars, it's profit, okay? And I transfer that over to the county. And since I've been in office, I've transferred over 1.3, nearly 1.4 million dollars to help the county through the difficult recession, I believe. And, you don't want a lot of vital public services cut. And the monies I've been able to transfer have helped them to stay solvent and keep programs that are much needed. But technology upgrade, taking it to the next level technology-wise, we have a lot of records to microfilm, and storage of records is a big problem. I'm currently searching for a good record repository that I can create and keep, instead of paying somebody else to do it.
Sure.
I would like to do it ourselves, and I believe I can save quite a bit of money.
Very good. Technology is always moving on you. That's
It is.
for sure.
I try to stay current with it. I'm a certified court manager. In 2014, I completed a 3-year Supreme Court Ohio Judicial College course, and I'm now a certified court manager. And I'm in the middle of a second tier of that, working my way toward the certified court executive. And that gives you a lot of tools to understand and measure what's going on within your offices.
Right. Very good. What makes your leadership in the position different from other candidates, and why?
Well, my leadership is a personality-based. I believe in group think, if you will. In other words, when I came in, I created a managerial sort of environment. In each one of my departments, I appointed a supervisor. Okay, we have supervisor meetings. At one point, the one department didn't know what was going on in another department. They had wrong opinion about what was going on and may not have been as helpful to each other. Now they all sit down at a table. We all talk. We exchange whys and hows, and boy, we've totally helped each other out a lot now. It's very, very good.
Communication makes all the difference.
It's good. That it may be it. Maybe it is that I have helped the communication in the office a lot. I have a good personality to work with people. I'm not threatening. The people that work for me do a great job of making me look great every day. And that's the reality of it.
Sure. Very good. Is there anything else you'd like the viewers to know?
Well, I take my job very seriously. I ask that you vote to re-elect me in November because I want to continue on to finish the work that I've begun. I believe that my qualifications and my experience are very vital to this position. I know the job, and there's a significant learning curve. And I think I'm passionate about it. I believe each and every one of the records that we handle, that we protect, are a piece of somebody's life.
Sure.
And are very important and must be treated accordingly. So again, I ask for your vote to re-elect Dave Wadswoth, Medina County Clerk of Court, this November.
Very good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Very good.
All right.
I'd like to introduce you to Colleen Swedyk, who is running for the position of County Recorder. Let me tell you a little bit about her, and then we'll talk to Colleen a bit. Colleen Swedyk has lived in Medina County for 27 years with her husband, Jack. They have one son, Jay, who is 24. Colleen graduated from Baldwin Wallace College with a BA in Finance. After college, she pursued a career in banking. Colleen also has an MS in Integrated Social Studies and Education from the University of Akron. For the last 13 years, Colleen has been the fiscal officer of Hinckley Township. In addition, for the last 10 years, she has been the Medina County Recorder. As recorder, Colleen has upgraded the software to allow electronic recording. Colleen has also launched a new website that allows residents to view their documents online. Residents can now print documents on their own printers without having to make a trip to the recorder's office to get information. For the last 3 years, the recorder's office has been providing veterans ID cards for all of Medina County's veterans. As a fiscal conservative, Colleen is proud that expenses have been reduced in the recorder's office by over 35%. So Colleen, welcome, and thank you for coming out today.
Nice to meet you.
And it's, I'm glad to have the opportunity to meet with you and have our viewers learn a little bit more about you. So why don't we start with the position of the county recorder, and for the viewers at home, can you tell them a little bit about what the county recorder does?
Sure. And a lot of people don't know, so it's a good question. 99% of what we do is file mortgages and deeds. So if you are a person from Medina County who has bought a home and your realtor calls you and says, your deal filed, I can give you your keys. That means it filed at my office. It is not a legal transaction until the deed is filed at my office. So we have all the records of every land transaction since before Medina County was even created. And we have to permanently maintain those records forever. The other part of the 99% of what we do is a mortgage. So if you go to a bank, once you buy a home to get the mortgage, it is not a legal loan against the piece of property until the bank files the mortgage at my office. So all day long we're filing deeds, we're filing mortgages. That is the bulk of what we do.
So it'd be safe to say the next stop after, myself, I'm sure many have been through closings, is that the next stop, all that paperwork you sign, it then goes...
When you go and get all your paperwork signed, that is before it comes to my office. My office is the last stop. The documents legally get filed at my office and are maintained at my office. So if you ever lose your deed, you can come to my office and get a certified copy, which is as good as the original. A certified copy from my office is as good as the original, should you lose it.
Okay.
So the other 1 or 2% of what we do, the Ohio Revised Code has us be the office that files things like mechanics liens, powers of attorney, living wills. We file the veterans' discharge papers at my office. But again, that is a small part of our business. The bulk is the mortgages and the deeds.
Okay, that's a good explanation.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit we talked about the bio, but let's talk a little bit more about yourself and specifically why you want to continue to run or to be in this position.
Well, we've had a big 4 years at the recorder's office. Since I ran in 2012, we've had a lot of upgrades that have been very exciting. For a long time, our records were not online, so people would have to physically come to the office to, print out an old deed or print out a copy of their mortgage. Our records are now online, and the project was a 6-year project, and what took so long was we were redacting the Social Security numbers.
Okay. Oh,
because once
so
we
that
went
they're
out
not
and
online
once they went online, then I would be putting the residents' Social Security numbers online, so we wanted to protect from that.
Yeah,
so
so
we
for
spent
identity theft
years,
purposes, you had to
we
clear
spent
that.
years redacting Social Security numbers. So last year we went online, and it's been very exciting because now people can call us and we can say, hey, here's our website. You can print out your deed right at home now instead of having, and especially for the attorneys and the title company people, having the information where they could get to it right from their office versus having to send somebody in is a huge convenience. So that just happened last year, so it's been very exciting. The other things that happened in the last 2 years, we started electronically recording, which means banks can electronically send a mortgage to us. We don't have the paper anymore if they are electronically recording, and it can go right into our software,
like
then
a
right
PDF or
into our hardware. And the beauty of that was we used to get a stack of mail, 2 foot high of mortgages from banks to record, and if something was wrong with it, it'd have to be sent back, the check sent back. Now we can send them a little note back saying, hey, this is wrong with it, this is wrong with it. And 20 minutes later, they're sending it back to us fixed.
Right.
So it has really made the office much more high tech,
More streamlined.
much more streamlined. We are doing 30 to 40% of our business in the back room. Before, when people would come in to stand in line, just like a teller area to record something, 30 to 40% of that business is in the back room now, done electronically.
Oh, yeah.
So that is, made us have less lines, and I believe better customer service for the people who are
Right.
walking in to file something. What we did do in the last couple months, which is really exciting because we're only one of 8 counties of the 88 counties in Ohio, we now are electronically recording the deeds. So the deeds are a 3-step process. A mortgage just needs to come to my office. The deeds needs to go to the engineer tax maps office first. Then it needs to go to the auditor's office, and then my office.
Okay.
We are now hooked up to electronically route the deeds through too.
Oh.
So it goes, to tax maps first. They sign off. I mean, the whole web is an amazing thing now. What you can
All
do
these things that the new
electronically.
technology is a fact that you don't even think about it because
So
it's
yeah,
behind the scenes.
it's really been an exciting couple of years, the upgrades and the innovations that we've experienced, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. The next thing that we're going to implement, we have always been just a check or cash kind of entity,
Right.
because we were not allowed to impose any kind of credit card fees. We can't impose fees. The state
Right.
sets all the fees. So now they have these new credit cards that are similar to ATM machines, where if somebody would use a credit card at my office, we would get the right amount as if it was a check, but then they would get on their credit card statement, like a $2 charge, just like
Right.
if you
So you
used
net
an
out,
ATM.
you get the exact amount
So we're
owed.
getting the exact amount. There will be no. So in the next couple months, we're going to be instituting taking credit cards, which I'm hoping for some of the businesses and the law firms will be a nice convenience, that they don't have to always be carrying the checks, that they'll be able to use a business credit card to do transactions at my office.
Oh, okay. Those are good examples of all the new things going on
Yes.
that are behind the scenes and people aren't always aware of.
Right.
And can they find all this just by Googling
We
the
have
county? Or how do they-
if you just Google my name, Colleen Swedyk, because it's so unique, you will get to the website. It's like www.recorder.oh.u. It's long, but if you
Yeah.
just Google Colleen Swedyk, you're going to get to the county recorder site, and you can search for
And you can find
documents.
all that.
You can see our office hours. You can see all the services we offer right on the website. And it's very simple and it's very user friendly.
Okay. Very good. What are your top 3 priorities for the recorder's office in the next few years? You talked about all these great
Well,
improvements. Where do you see coming out in, say, the next 2 to 4 years?
This year, of course, the credit cards, which we have not implemented yet, but we're looking forward to that. They do have a new program. We have what is called a document needs to be indexed when it comes into my office. Once it records, it needs to be indexed, which means we're checking all the information so that historically, if a title company ever searches the property, that all the information is correct. We have a new software that we're about to install called Inspect, and it will reduce typing errors, because instead of indexing and typing the information, the grantor, the grantee, all
Yeah.
the pertinent information, the parcel number, the new monitors that we're getting, they'll just be able to touch it. Touch the
Oh,
name,
okay.
touch the parcel number,
And it'll fill
touch
it
the
in.
address, and it will automatically fill it in. So again, it's going to reduce spelling errors, and it'll also, again, which I'm always looking to do, is streamline operations.
Okay.
So those are 2 very exciting things that are coming in the near future that I'm looking forward to guiding the process of both.
Okay, those are good examples. What makes your leadership in this position different from the other candidate, and why?
To be honest, I have not met my opponent, so I'm not even really sure what her background is or what her abilities are. One of the things that I have always prided myself on, being a finance person, is my responsibility in spending taxpayers' dollars. I always remember that I am spending other people's money.
Right.
And it's prominent in every decision I make, every purchase I make, every direction I head, is that I'm using other people's money. And I'm really proud that my department is leaner. It's 35% less expenses than they were 10 years ago. So I feel that my greatest strength is taking the dollars that I have and using them most efficiently. And most efficiently doesn't always necessarily mean the cheapest purchase. It means sometimes what's the best software that's going to streamline us, or what's the best purchase that's going to streamline us.
Right,
Always
gives the best
looking
results,
looking
yeah.
to the future, which then gets you leaner and meaner. But I'm always a person, and it comes from my background of being a fiscal officer, that knows my most responsibility as leader of the department is to take the taxpayers' dollars and serve the the best of my ability.
Like, in other words, you don't want to buy a system that's inexpensive but glitchy, and
Right,
it actually takes you more time
exactly.
to
But I really am proud when you look at the bottom line of my department that it is way less taxpayer dollars than it was a decade ago, and I think the commissioners appreciate that. But I'm always looking for ways to reduce expenses.
Okay. Well, Colleen Swedyk, I want to thank you for coming out today on behalf of the Medina
Thank you
Chamber.
so much.
We appreciate your time, and
Thank
good
you.
luck in the upcoming election.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.